Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to a review of The Predator. So this movie came out today. Basically, I've been on vacation this week. I wake up this morning and I just realized that this movie was out today. I totally lost track of it. I know there's been some promotion around it. I've seen it like on YouTube, but like this one kind of just hit me out of left field. I didn't watch any trailers on it. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. All I know is that this is a new Predator movie, and I wanted to see it. And I was actually a really big fan of Predators, which a lot of people seem to have a lot of mixed opinions on, but I thought that that was a pretty good entry into the series. One movie that I've really meant to rewatch that I haven't seen in a while is Predator 2. I don't know how I'd feel about it. I know I wasn't crazy about it the last time I saw it, but it's probably time to revisit that one as well. So, as far as, the original Predator and Predators, those are the two movies that are freshest in my mind when it comes to this series. And so now The Predator came out. So, the names of these movies are really just amazing. It's just like it couldn't just be simple. Like Predators, like they couldn't just make it Predator 3. I don't know if it's that they were like embarrassed that they waited so long, or they just want to follow the the whole thing of making reboots. This thing that's been going on for years and years. It's just like, it's more in the fad, I guess, but, they want to keep with tradition, I guess would be the right word, of just renaming things 1,000 times. Kind of like, the Halloween series. There's going to be 3 Halloweens now. And it seems like that's the way it's going to go with the Terminator. So I'm not a big fan of how they keep on mixing up these different names. But I guess it's a small nitpick, because at the end of the day, it's just the name. As they all say, it's in the name. It's just the, it's just the title of a movie. It has nothing to do with the quality. It's a small nitpick, but I think that they could do a little bit better naming these movies. So really, this should be Predator 4, really, for all intents and purposes. So how did it turn out? Now, I think that you probably had a more star-studded cast in, in Predators. But this one, I have to say, I think I liked the team more in this one. There was a lot of funny dialogue, and I think you could equate that to Shane Black being the director for this film. I really wasn't a big fan of Iron Man 3, but if you go back and you check my review of that, my initial opinion was pretty positive, and it was mostly due to the dialogue. And I said that, Robert Downey Jr.'s dialogue that was given to him in that film was brilliant, and I think that there was some good direction in certain parts. I just thought as a story it kind of fell apart, but, Shane Black helped write Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, so you really can't knock the guy that hard. I mean, this is a guy that knows what he's doing when it comes to, directing a movie or writing a script. I mean, he's a professional, and I think it really showed in this film. There was a lot of smart, funny dialogue. I mean, not always smart, but it was pretty well written. I thought it was funny, all the characters involved, and Thomas Jane playing a guy with Tourette's. We go back to the military. Basically, it's military guys, just like Marines in the first movie. And, before you even ask, do we even really need to say, is this movie better than the first? It's not. I don't think they're ever going to make one that's as good as the first movie. I mean, because that's a Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, it's just, Jesse Ventura, all these actors in here, it's just, you're just never going to be able to beat it. I think the one funny thing about this film is that the fact that Rich Hawkins is in this movie, and the fact that he was in the first movie, now he's back again. I like how that came full circle. That was a real treat to see that. And there's a lot of different nods. The musical cues with the the tribal bongos, you could hear that in the background. That's always been a chilling sound since the first movie. And you've kind of got a Predator 2 vibe going on here. You know, it starts off in the jungle. The movie ends in the jungle as well, but in the middle, in the body of the film, it harkens back to Predator 2, and they're actually in, well, they're not really in the city, but more in like suburbia, which is kind of interesting. So it's kind of like a mishmash of all the Predator films that have been released all together. See, what they did in Predators, which I appreciate, is they went back to the first film. They brought it back to the jungle atmosphere, especially after, you know, people weren't feeling the Alien versus Predator movies. I mean, you know, let's not get it twisted here for a minute. Those movies are very popular, and even though people like to knock Requiem and everything like that, I will just be the first one to say that when I'll never forget when the first Alien versus Predator movie came out. That movie, they made out like bandits, and people were super excited. They were cheering in the theater. So for the time that when that movie came out in 2004, people loved it. You know, it's just really funny. It's just that people have, like, they get influenced by other people on the internet, and they seem to, you know, just not have a good memory. Like, they just all of a sudden start hating on films because everybody else hates on them. Well, lo and behold, this movie got a terrible write-up. I checked on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, let's see how this movie did. No surprise, it's like 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics hate it. They think it's an abomination. You know, I don't know what the current average is for Alien versus Predator, but knowing how things are rated nowadays and how critics just don't get it anymore. And they seem like they have a lot of ulterior motives with messages and shit like that. I don't know like what that movie was rated, but like I don't care anymore, and I've stated that time and time again, especially after they've given these superhero movies like these enormous ratings that they didn't even deserve. So, you know, whatever the critics say, that's what they say. I go and I watch it anyway, and I form my own opinion. So what can we say about this movie that, you know, getting into the nitty-gritty and some spoilers in it? So, you know, I think it's a good movie. Is it one of the best Predator movies? Like I said, you'll never be able to top the first. I'm not quite sure if I enjoyed this more than Predators. I've only seen that movie once, but I did like it, and I have the DVD right here just to show you. The movie's right here, you know, so I am a fan of this movie. I bought it, and this is the first time I actually watched it. It was on this DVD. I didn't see this one in the theaters. I missed it. But, you know, this movie, like I said, you can't go wrong with Danny Trejo, you know, Lawrence Fishburne, Adrian Brody. I mean, this, I said, it's like, I think it's a more star-studded cast. But then, I think that, you know, this cast was actually better in this movie from what I remember. I think there were some good jokes in this movie, but there were better jokes, I think, in this one. And I really liked, you know, they think that, you know, the main character is crazy. You know, he sees the Predator, he kills his whole team, so they write him off as just having, like, PTSD, and they just, you know, they haul him away on the bus, and he meets all these other guys. They escape from the bus. And we find out that Predator is actually, he's not such a bad Predator. He's actually there to help them. How he's there to help them is never really explained, but I guess at the end, you know, when he gives them the armor, I guess that's supposed to be kind of like the thing, you know, the little surprise at the end. But we find out that they make you think that is actually the main Predator, you know, who they first show. But then we see that there's an upgrade Predator. And this Predator, they said, is like, he's like 11 feet tall. He's huge. So, and I think there's a really good balance here. There's practical effects. You've got CGI, of course, is used in it. You know, and the CGI that is used, I think, looks pretty good. But the practical effects, I mean, everything that they do with the Predator's face, and, you know, and they're still, the first Predator they show anyway, he's all practical. I'm pretty sure that is like a guy in a suit that's, you know, animatronics on the face. Now, the Upgrade Predator, of course, that's CGI. Maybe there might be a little bit of practical effects going on, but, I think that there's a good mix. I think as long as the movie's not like Transformers and it's not just CGI'd up the ass, I mean, I'm just fine with having some CGI. I mean, this is modern cinema. I can't expect it to just be completely practical effects. I mean, directors are going to want to save time. They're, going to want to, do some shortcuts where they can, but as long as they don't just completely compromise the film and make it all about CGI and they just don't make it a whole digital video game mess, I'm fine with them having some CGI, especially if it looks good. And this looked like some top-notch CGI. Maybe not the best that I've seen, but the movie does look good for what it is, and it's a pretty good looking movie. I think that everything comes across looking pretty good. Really though, I gotta say my favorite thing about this is the cast. I think everybody puts in a good performance. There's a lot of funny moments. There's some pretty good dialogue. As far as it goes with the kid, so the main character, his son is there, and he's figuring out all the Predator technology and everything. I wasn't sure how I felt about this, but I kind of liked how they had like a little message in there about autism. This kid, he's got some problems, but he's still able to like figure out the alien technology by messing around with it. So I didn't feel like the kid got in the way or anything like that. Kind of like, you could kind of say Jurassic Park, Lost World. I am kind of finding it a bit funny though in a lot of these movies as of late that they're making like, the kid is always like this, there's always something about the kid. Like they did this in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and I don't even think they're gonna follow up on it. At the end the kid was like sweeping and he's got the Force. You've also Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic Park, they kind of had like, the kid is like cloned, and they're kind of getting into this little trend with like kids and just, something kind of that they did in the 90s, and they're kind of bringing it back. But it didn't feel like it got in the way. It was handled pretty well, without making it like, the kid is like really like saving the day and making it just like totally, unrealistic. Like instead of making him like a smarty pants, this brings me back to like Jurassic Park, Lost, what was it? Oh, Jurassic World. Not we already talked about Lost World just a few minutes ago, but remember that kid? They made him like a real like smarty pants, and his mom says like, oh, that you're gonna take this plane to Jurassic World, to the island, and he corrects on how much time it's gonna take. That annoying shit is not present, and I thank them for that. I thank Shane Black and the others who worked on this movie for not making the kid totally obnoxious, but actually kind of like putting a good message in there about, how the kid's got a disability, but he still works around it. And he comes out looking a bit like a hero, kind of, helping his dad kind of save the day. But still not taking like the spotlight off of the main character, which was good. They don't have him like getting a one-up on the Predator in any way. So like that was good to see. There wasn't any like stupid, silly moments. And the way how the dialogue was like jokey, I gotta be honest, like there were parts in this movie where I was kind of scared that it was gonna go a bit off the rails and they were gonna kind of do something with the kid that was gonna be like eye-rolling. Like, I'm just saying, like, I gotta use, like, the example again, kind of like in Jurassic Park Lost World, where you've got Jeff Goldblum's daughter doing that gymnastic kick into the Velociraptor, so that type of shit is, like, not present, and I'm happy that they didn't take that route, that instead, they kind of just told a bit of a story with the kid instead of just kind of, making the kids want to cheer, because it's not a kids movie. I don't know what this film was rated. I'm going to assume that it was rated R. I think that it was. I'm quite sure it probably was R, especially since, the Upgrade Predator rips out the other Predator's spine, and, there is foul language in it. But anyway, like, overall, this was a pretty good movie, I thought. I think it's a good entry into the series. It doesn't, like, it, you know, there are serious moments, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. Shane Black has fun with the script. He seems like he understands, you know, the Predator universe and what people expect out of a Predator movie, but also, you know, still making it like a fun, like, popcorn blockbuster flick, you know, with just jokes where, like, everybody could have a good time. So, you know, it definitely doesn't have like that super serious like tone of the first movie that everybody loves, you know, where there were some jokes written in, but there's more of like a scary element to it. That's definitely missing in this movie, and you know, this movie didn't have it either, really. That suspenseful feeling, I mean, they haven't had that feeling in a Predator movie since the you know, since the first movie. It wasn't there in Predator 2 either. You know, it's mostly because, you know, we've already seen the Predator. He was cloaked for most of the first movie. So, you know, a lot of that is taken away. You know, you had that element of surprise, that element of mystery in the first movie. But, you know, it's gone, and I mean, you know, thanks to all the sequels, for anybody, you know, who was born after the movie came out and everything, that was ruined anyway, and that's a real shame. But, you know, I think maybe there might be a way that they could implement more suspense into the film, but I don't think that's the type of director that Shane Black is. So, you know, maybe they could implement that in the future, but I kind of like this style of movie. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to this. And it's really going to be interesting to see what they're going to call the movie that follows this one. Is it going to be The Predators? Is it going to be The Predator 2, since it's Predator 1? You know, I don't know. But I'm just saying it's a bit ridiculous already. They need to kind of get this shit under control when it comes to naming these movies. And just, you know, what is it? What do they have against numbers now? Like, they don't want to just name it, you know, like a number like they used to. You know, what's so bad about that? It's like, if you have like the DVDs or Blu-rays, you could just like line them up, you know, side by side, and know what each movie is, and it's just like easier for the sake of conversation and referring to the movie than saying, you know, oh, you know, talking about the movie Predators, and there's already a movie called Predator. You know, this, I gotta say, this shit started when it came to like Alien, when the first movie was Alien, and then the next one was Aliens, because there was more than one. So that like made sense and it was clever, but god damn, I think it led to just a complete, you know, just a catastrophe of when it comes to titling movies. So anyway, there you go, guys. I recommend this movie. I think if you weren't a fan of like the Predator movies to begin with, there's maybe a small chance you might like it due to the dialogue being a bit different and a bit more, you know, comical. But if you just don't like the concept of Predators, you're probably not going to become a fan off of this one. This one, you know, is for the fans. I don't think it's about really getting any new people to really appreciate this movie, but maybe due to the dialogue. I think the dialogue is better than this movie. But you know, overall, I think they did a good job overall, encompassing all the different elements from the previous film. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I release all my new videos. Check out all my other videos. And until next time, guys.